welcome to the OnLookers podcast.
Episode 2.
I'm going to pause that right quick. You and I just witnessed something that was just horrendous to the eyes, ears, and mouth. But I'm going to start it off proper with me being the host, Luis Rios, and my special co-host, Evans Angulo DeVille.
Yes, sir.
And, gosh.
Okay, so if...
I can't even... Because, I'm still processing what we witnessed with that MeatCanyon video,
okay,
man.
so if you aren't, if you don't know about MeatCanyon is basically this YouTube channel where this, animator by, the name of Hunter Hancock, he basically just makes all types of, weird, awkward, creepy, scary, funny animations. And I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of what he does. Just as an animator myself, there's a lot I can appreciate with that. And we just watched the latest episode, which is Peppa Pig based. And it was honestly, as an animator, it was horrifying to see. But I was at the part where the mom jumps onto the kid, when he counts to 1, 2, 3. In my mind, I was just yo, that animation looks pretty good. The quality is grown pretty vastly.
It's not just the quality; it's the detail that he gets into the grotesqueness.
Yeah,
too.
That was definitely the most terrifying one.
Oh, God. And the slow little horror-esque aspects where it's no, count 2, 3, 1. I'm
Bruh.
Whoa! Why would you do that?
And she had 2 faces on each side, 2 mouths on each side.
Oh, highly recommend to watch it if you ever have a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Go watch MeatCanyon. If you appreciate animation and you also appreciate creepy stuff, even if you don't, you might like what you see. And it's MeatCanyon, not MeatCanyon.
Yeah, he's been just saying it awfully all the time, and I don't correct him anymore. So
me? I always say MeatCanyon. Other people say MeatCanyon, and I have to correct
I'm pretty
them.
sure you said it at the beginning.
At the beginning, yeah, when I was first watching them, but then I got corrected.
Yeah. Ah, gosh. All right, so yeah. Speaking of stuff that we just recently watched, you and I have been recently caught up on the WandaVision.
Yeah.
Episode 8, I think. No.
Yeah, episode 8 came out.
I want to have some proper time to say huge spoilers. I guess at this point, don't want to.
Yeah, don't listen if you haven't watched it. Basically,
really do watch the show. It's great. It's on Disney Plus.
It's so good. It's so good. If you're not a fan of superheroes Marvel and stuff like that, it's not a movie. It's a miniseries, which is their first time doing this within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was an interesting twist. Yeah. But I think it's pretty dope how the concept in terms of her creating this world, and every single episode it's just modeled after an old timey TV show.
It's following throughout each decade of sitcoms and stuff like that. Basically,
the first episode was in black and white, and it's your typical family show.
Literally at the end of this episode, or somewhere in between in this last episode, they mentioned Dick Van Dyke, which was the 100% reference of the first episode.
Yeah,
the Dick Van Dyke Show. Oh, yeah. Gosh.
And as someone who doesn't care for the comic books or read into the comic books, I'm always shocked. I never know what's gonna happen. A lot of people who read the comic books, they kind of aren't fun to hang around with, because they're you'll watch the movie and you'll be so excited about it, or be so into what's gonna happen. He's well, in issue 95 it says that this is gonna happen. I'm all right, don't ruin it for me. Shut up. Let me go watch it and enjoy it myself and find out what happens. And then I watch the movie and I go tell him yo, this and this happened. He was yeah, I know what's gonna happen. All right, you're no fun at all.
Yeah, I kind of that was kind of my experience with the Spider-Man movies, where I'm I know kind of what's gonna happen.
The latest ones?
You remember seeing what was it, Far From Home?
Yeah.
That twist where Mysterio is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, watching it, just from watching movies, I could pick up on him ended up being the villain. He gave me awkward vibes.
Oh, him being too nice and too considerate, and there was basically no villain for most of it.
No, it was the ending that threw me off.
Oh,
the ending shocked me.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, spoiler warnings if you haven't seen
Far From Home.
Far From
Yeah, we
Home,
kinda
go
just
watch
ruined it a
that.
little bit.
Plus, it's been like what 3 years since it came out. No, it's been like 2.
2019, I think. At the end of Endgame, basically.
Well,
Like,
with
it happened
COVID,
right after.
it feels like a decade.
It does feel like a decade.
But basically, at the end of the movie, he makes it look like no, does he make it look like Spider-Man killed him, or was it
He
just
framed
that?
it as if like Spider-Man was the reason that he's dead and all this stuff happened because Spider-Man was such a genius.
Yeah,
He has all this technology because of Stark.
yeah, but didn't he also like out him? Like they found out his identity.
Oh yeah, 100%. That was like
Bro,
the big
bro.
review. It's like
Oh
Spider-Man's real name. Dun
my
dun dun.
gosh, that
And then
blew
it, like pauses.
my mind,
Peter Parker.
bro. That blew my mind, bro.
And then Peter Parker's like, "What the?" And it just cuts.
Exactly, right. I had the exact same reaction. I don't remember if I watched that in the movie theaters or where I did. I think
I saw it
not
twice in theaters. I
So
really
good.
loved watching it. I love
so
Spider-Man in general. I mean, you just saw all my like Spider-Man memorabilia.
yeah, you've been hearing about like the speculation that they're gonna have like the previous Spider-Man.
I kind of do hope so.
I really, really do.
Well, we just detracted a little bit. Let's go straight back to WandaVision, though.
Oh, okay.
I know we diverged, but that last episode, oh my god, dude. What's going to happen with Vision now? Because now there's technically 2. You saw the end credit sequence, right?
Yeah, I was confused. So did she just create a new Vision, or did she have the
I think
Infinity Stone, and with that she just created
because
Vision?
of her like ability with the Mind Stone touching her, I think
Mm-hmm.
she's able to create life without meaning, like basically have so much chaotic energy. In the comics, it's like she is chaos. And that was like that big reveal where it's like, oh, you're the Scarlet Witch. That type of weirdness. But
Yeah, when she said that, I was like, duh. We've known this for like 6 years.
it's just like now it's, oh, that's her official comic book name now, or some weird retconning, I think.
Yeah, if she wasn't so like emotionally damaged by everything that she's been through, because she's been through a lot, like with her parents dying, her brother dying, like and like her love interest dying.
And they sowed so many seeds throughout the whole entire show too, like that weird ticking that you heard in one of the first few episodes, like that, and then you don't know what's up until like now, where they kind of just like, yeah, that's what happened. There was a bomb that was gonna go off that never did.
Yeah, see, I like shows like that where they don't tell you everything and there's like a lot of mystery and things that you need to figure out, and they piece it to you piece by piece, and each episode they give you another piece. But sometimes those pieces will like open other doors but like it eventually all comes full circle. I like shows that where like it all comes full circle. I feel like sometimes people will watch shows or like try to make shows where there's like too much stuff to try and figure out, and like you're left with a lot of like plot holes.
Like they're abandoning what they're already establishing, right?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily that they're abandoning what they're establishing. They're just not like giving it closure.
Oh, okay. Like how Lost ended, I think. I'd never seen Lost, so I don't know 100%.
So what are we talking about?
Apparently, no. Like they went off on like the deep end, like trying to figure out why they're still on the island, and then there's just parallel dimensions, and like all this paranormal stuff isn't real, but it is real.
Parallel dimensions?
Yeah,
and Lost? Wasn't Lost about like people who got like
stuck on an island, and then they're trying to figure out why they're there?
Okay, and it's parallel dimensions?
I don't know. It's some 100% sci-fi nonsense that only J.J. Abrams could make some bullcrap about.
Okay, since we just started, for like the 2 viewers that are listening to us, like just one of them is like a massive Lost fan, and it's like you're
everything I said.
Yeah, you're an idiot, bro. Like stop talking.
You don't know what you're talking about because you've never seen the show.
Exactly. It's your mom.
Watch it be my mom. My mom's like, I've been a huge Lost fan since it first aired. You are nothing.
Exactly.
My mom actually is only deeply invested into like one huge television show. Have you ever heard of Survivor?
The name sounds familiar, but knowing me, my brain is probably going back to Survivor Series back when I was a massive WWE fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like those events that they have.
No, I'm not really big on the WWE scene.
Well, you know how there's like WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that's like a huge event. Like every once in a while, they'll have like an event where they're like have like these rivalries that have been going on for weeks, and then that's like where they'll settle their beef and stuff like that. But one of them was basically called Survival Series.
Oh, and what exactly did the event do? Like,
I don't. It was just like an event where like you paid for pay-per-view and like there was like a whole theme, and like that was where they basically just had like these cards of like matches of like people who had beef, and like that was basically like where you settle your beef.
oh,
It's the same as WWE, as like WrestleMania, just like not as big.
what I love about WWE is like, even though it is fake, like the realness of like them bleeding and them getting knocked out all the time.
Yeah,
You can't fake those injuries.
bro. Growing up, me and one of my best friends, we were huge WWE fans.
I think they censored most of that stuff, though.
Huge, yeah. Before it became like rated G, and like they'd have like diaper commercials and like Gerber, like literally Gerber babies are there. But back in the good old times, like back in my youth, wrestling used to be so awesome. Me and him we were huge Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy fans, bro. We would like do the dance, like Jeff Hardy would like do a dance basically where he walks in like really really low and then starts waving each one of his arms back and forth, and we used to get so hyped. We were humongous fans. We would like do wrestling moves on each other. We would play like the WWE video games for the Wii. We would make our own characters and like model them after our favorite wrestlers. It was great times. But that was also when I believed in wrestling. I don't know. I don't remember.
When did the illusion fade?
I don't know, bro. But like I remember it was like soul crushing.
I think for me, it was ironically, I always thought all the WWE stuff was real, and I was just too afraid to see it because I grew up as a Christian holy boy, so that was too violent for my lifestyle.
Oh.
The irony in that sentence is when I was being like born on that day, my mom and dad were watching a pay-per-view UFC fight, so
Awesome.
one of the first UFC fights to actually come about too.
Wow.
But other than that, I always thought that all that violence was real, but then one day I was watching South Park because that's the only thing that I could.
Oh, that South Park episode?
With. Yes.
Yeah, I was literally just watching it earlier this week while I was doing homework.
That South Park episode where they're like making fun of all the WWE stuff. I'm like, oh, it was fake?
There was one wrestler named Edge, and I remember watching one of his interviews, and he was literally just going off on some fan. He was like, yeah, it's fake. And I was like, it's just like it was like the movie Inception.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're in a dream within your dream, and like you're like a character who you're watching play this character who you hate is telling you that it's not real. And I just I don't know, 11-year-old brain couldn't like comprehend that.
You were just too like mystified, like, wait, it doesn't make how do you do that?
Yeah, because like anytime growing up where I had like a little inkling that it might be fake, I was like, but all the stuff they're doing is real, which it is. Like all the things they do,
their performances.
Like that's one of the things that kind of have brought me back. Like I'm not really a wrestling fan anymore, but once in a while I'll just see what's happening just because I respect like the craft of it, because it is real, even though like the rivalries and the hatred isn't real.
It's 100% the men's theater.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely theater, just like more violent, and you are more likely to get hurt, and you most definitely will get hurt.
Like B-plot like stories were like, oh, you were with my girl.
Exactly. And like being a humongous Jeff Hardy fan, and like for those who don't know Jeff Hardy, he was basically a high flyer who would jump off of everything to land on top of their opponent. And growing up, like that was the dopest thing ever. I'm like, this dude is invisible. Like he literally jumped off of like a billboard, like a billboard like 30 feet in the air onto another wrestler, and he would survive that stuff. So I'm like,
so whatever. How is that possible?
I don't know, bro. Like you could honestly just look up a compilation of him doing just jumping off of anything, and it's all real. And that was like basically my debate whenever someone would be like, wrestling isn't real. Like then I would just like pull up the videos and like explain this. Then did he not do that?
Did he not almost die?
Yeah, and then the rebuttal that they would give me was like, okay, so if wrestling is real, that means the Undertaker is real, and I'd be like, yeah. Yeah, he is. And it was like, so, but like basically the Undertaker, he's like some 7-foot giant who's like basically the Grim Reaper.
He's huge.
And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so like he doesn't eat, like he's just like some spirit basically. Like where does he go? Because they only show wrestling like once a week. So like what does he do in his free time? And I'm like, goes Goes back to the grave. I don't know.
That's how warped your brain was.
Yeah, I was like, shut up,
You
bro.
don't
It's
do anything but that.
yeah, I was like, shut up. It's real, bro. Like, leave me alone. But eventually I had to come to my senses and accept that wrestling isn't as real as I thought it was.
Man. Yo, actually, when we're on like the topic of realness, you and I were talking about like last week or something about how I was making fun of the number districts of schools and stuff like that. How like if a school has a number, it's basically like ghetto. Like they have no reason to like operate, or they don't care too much about like the funding for said school most of the time, which is depressing. I am being rude in the aspect of making fun of it in that way, but at the same time, I feel bad for these kids being underrepresented and like cared for their studies and stuff like that.
When I came from Boston and moved to New York, the first school I went to was a school in Troy called School 12. And I was there. That was how I spent my 4th grade before I moved on to Troy Prep, which I mentioned in the last episode. But I was there for 1 year. And I remember on like the 3rd day of school, I almost died because we have PE. And sometimes we, like after every, I guess, season or every couple of weeks, we would switch between going to PE and swimming. And we started off swimming. And growing up, I never learned to swim.
Oh, you still don't know how to swim, right?
Oh, right now? Right now? Back to my story. So I didn't know how to swim at all. And they wanted to test us at the beginning of the school year to see like how good of swimmers we are, because it's a huge pool, like a huge pool for all of us to swim and like play in. And it ranges from like, you know, like a regular pool, it ranges from like 3 feet to like all the way to like 12 feet on the other side. And there's like a line that divides you. So it's basically to find out whether or not you can swim on the deep end or you have to stay in the shallow end. So they have us all line up by the shallow end right outside the pool, and we basically like, we don't race, but like we have a race just to see if we can, but not to see who gets there first, but just to see how good of swimmers we are.
Okay.
Like as soon as, okay, so he started and I don't know what in my mind, what I was thinking in my head, but I was like, okay, let's do this. I never tried swimming before. I didn't know how to swim, but I was like, maybe it'll just come naturally to me. So he like blows the whistle and we jump in, and like immediately I started drowning. Like I started drowning. I don't remember. I honestly like saw my life flash before my eyes, and I was like 8 or 9. So there wasn't a lot to think about.
Well, yeah, I mean, you only have such a short thing to do.
Yeah, but I was basically dying. And like everyone was just swimming by me, like no one cared. Like I think my gym teacher thought I was messing around, so he just stared at me like I'm
for no reason.
Yeah, I'm like making eye contact with him while I'm like going underground, like while I'm going underwater, and he did nothing. And then while everyone like went to the other side of the pool and was racing back, I was still trying to get my feet underneath me because I was like sideways, just trying to. I don't know. I was trying to grab water or something as if I could.
Oh, you were thinking that you could like leverage yourself with more
something, but I finally made it back to like where I jumped from, and then he just looked at me and he was like, "Dude, I don't know if you can even be in the shallow end."
He felt so embarrassed. He's like, "No, you can't even be that low anymore in your life."
Yeah, I was like, and as a 9-year-old, I don't know. As a 9-year-old, I didn't really care too much about like my image per se, but at that moment I was like, so this is me. This is what New York living is like.
It'd be like that record scratch.
Yeah,
this is me.
Yeah, but eventually I did learn to be able to swim in the shallow end.
Just in the shallow end, right?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go past like my 6 feet now.
Do you at least know that doggy paddle now? Debatable, right?
Yeah. So if someone were to ask me if I can swim, I'd say yes, but I can't float.
That's
like
possible.
Like I can swim. Like if I were to jump in the water, and I had to swim from one place to another place, I could do that. But if you ask me like to like just sit there and like float in space, I'm gonna sink.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how people do that. Like it's witchcraft to me, basically.
It's not that hard. It's a lot harder for people that are skinnier, I guess. But again, it's not that impossible for them either. It's just about maintaining like their just being able to keep their stomach upward or something like that. I forget. It's been a while. I don't swim as much as I used to. I actually once was going for training to be a lifeguard when I was mad young. So I was like 12 or so.
You're 12-year-old lifeguard?
I could have been a junior lifeguard, yeah.
Jeez.
The only thing I messed up on was my diving. That was it.
My dad swims like a dolphin.
What? Oh, like
an actual dolphin. Like he goes in the water and it's just like
in and out type thing?
Yeah, like in and out. Like when I went to Italy to spend the summer with my pops, because my dad lives in Italy, we went to the beach one day, and he asked me if I could swim, and I was like, I don't know. I
haven't figured it out yet.
And he just looked so disgusted as like a half Ecuadorian kid. It's like, how can my seed not be able to swim? Because my dad told me, like, growing up in Ecuador, like, the way he learned to swim was, like, his dad just, like, picked him up one day. Imagine, like, my pops at, like, 3 years old, just, like, on the ground playing with, I don't know, like, twigs. Mm-hmm. And then his pops picks him up and then just throws him in a nearby river.
Oh, my God.
At, like, 3 years old. And, he was serious. Like, that's how they learned how to swim. And then his dad would just watch him. That's probably what the lifeguard was doing to me. Maybe he was, like, Ecuadorian or something. And, like, that was the way his pops taught him.
It's like, you got to learn how to, like, drown first before you can actually swim.
Exactly. So his dad just like threw him in the water, and then he was just like, yo, figure it out.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my dad can swim. Like my dad.
If he could swim like a dolphin, he's probably jetting it all the time then.
Yeah, it was insane to watch, because 1 minute he was there and like another minute he was like 30 feet in, and he was like, come on, come in. I'm like, no, I'm
there?
He's like, no, I'm gonna play with this wet sand. I'm not gonna go over there and die. I'm in Italy. I'm not gonna die in Italy. I'm gonna enjoy eating this food and stay on land. I don't care. I'll play with the 4-year-olds.
They're actually having a really lit time. Did you see that girl's castle? Like,
what girl's castle?
I don't know.
Oh,
like on the scene.
Oh yeah.
Mine's better, but you know.
Yeah. He kept on trying to egg me. It was not happening at all. Maybe in the future, when global warming or whatever keeps on happening, stuff. And the Miami's underwater, maybe then I'll need to pick up swimming.
Once the world's all destroyed and stuff like that, and there's
maybe then hopefully, because like that's all that's gonna be left basically, like all the swim instructors, because everyone else would have drowned.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be easy.
Swim instructors would just be around.
It'll be easy to find someone to teach me how to swim.
Maybe a few lifeguards too.
Yeah, them too, I guess.
That'd be a miserable life just to have only just swimming instructors for these pretentious people, man.
I mean, but we'd lose Florida, which is a gain in my opinion.
Honest to God, we don't need it.
I was gonna say, theoretically, if the world did drown and like all of America was underwater, would it be Colorado that would last the longest because of like the high altitude?
Oh, I never thought about that. Maybe
because people notice like a clear difference when you go over there, because of how high up they are and like in terms of like the air.
At least state-wise, probably. I was thinking North Dakota more or less. I've never.
North Dakota isn't real, bro. I'm talking about states.
Actual states?
Yes, actual states.
Oh, like what about South Dakota? Is that a real state too?
No, that's not. What are you talking about?
So none of the Dakotas exist?
No.
Where's Mount Rushmore then?
What?
Mount Rushmore.
I don't know what that is.
Imagine like you like take all these history classes and stuff like that, and like you still don't care about like the most useless states on the planet.
Yeah, they're not real. No one pays attention to them.
The most you hear about is like the god awful ones like Florida.
Yeah.
And like Massachusetts because of Boston.
But yeah, I just thought about that. Like if the world were to actually like start going underwater, would Colorado be the move? Because there you would have the most time.
I feel like the best spot, if we're talking about the whole world, would it be in China? There's some high altitude regions in that area. I forget what the mountains are.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I really wouldn't really consider the last space that we would be able to reside on safely.
Well, I don't feel like. Well, we'd have to go off of America's. I don't feel like any other country, if it were that dire around the world, would just welcome us, especially Americans.
So the only space that Americans can safely reside in is
Colorado. Yeah.
All the way in the mountains.
Yep.
You know, there's Appalachian Mountains around us, right? Wait, are we the Appalachians? Oh, gosh.
Adirondack.
We're on their. They're Appalachian.
I don't know if they are, but I know we have the Adirondack Mountains.
Yeah. That whole stretch of land.
Oh, speaking of Adirondack Mountains, back when I went to Troy Prep, we went on a lot of trips. And one trip that we went on a decent amount of times was we went ziplining in the Adirondack Mountains, which was pretty cool.
At Troy Prep?
Yeah, we went ziplining. It was a lot of fun. It helped me get over like my fear of heights. Well, I never really had a fear of heights. I more so have like a fear of falling, if you get what I mean.
Oh, like just
if
dropping out of nowhere?
Like if I have a way to be protected and I'm like high up in the air, I'm perfectly fine with that. Like if I'm on an airplane and we're like going up thousands of feet in the air, I'll look out the window and I'll just be like, oh, that's so dope, like how close we are to the clouds. But if of protection to keep me from falling off, yeah, I'm going to like freak out. I'm gonna pass out or something like that.
Wait, so you're not cool with roller coasters then, right?
No, I love roller coasters.
Oh, I was about to say.
I love roller coasters.
Because normally people hate it because of the drop.
Now, if I have any type of protection, like with the like, as soon as I get in the roller coaster and I hear like the guy check me and he puts the thing down and he like does like he jiggles it to see if it if he stays like on me, I'm good. But if he goes by me, and there have been a few times where they'll just pass by me, I'll just be like, yo, hold up. Wait a minute. Yo, come back, bro. You missed a person.
My favorite thing is when they lightly touch it, they're like, light little tap.
Yeah,
all right,
like,
you're good.
Like, no.
They don't care too much. They got to do like the next round in the next 2 minutes anyway.
I love roller coasters.
Have you ever been to Six Flags?
Yeah.
You've ridden
Troy Prep. Multiple times. See, I miss the school, man. It's been so long.
Been nice,
bro. It was great. It was great. Like bro. Earlier this week, I was scrolling through Facebook just cause, and I saw like this post that someone made about Troy Prep, and they're like complaining about Troy Prep and saying how like it sucked and yada 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 and this and that. And I'm like, bro, you clearly were a bad kid. Like all the people who complain about Troy Prep were just bad kids and never got to go on trips. Like I can tell you were on Perch, and being on Perch is basically, if you didn't listen to the last podcast, is every week you get $50 in your paycheck, and if you reach zero, you go on something called Perch, where you have to wear a white shirt and you don't get the privileges that other students get who are able to have $50 or more every single week. But yeah, but those kids were definitely on Perch. And there was like mad comments, like 60 plus comments, like just a bunch of kids who
cutting on him or like agreeing.
No, like who agreed that Troy Prep sucked. And I was like, bro, all y'all were bad kids, bro. Like, stop.
Like the reason why you guys have a negative bias is because you guys
exactly, bro. Like y'all just couldn't shut up and like just pay attention.
That's what I hate about like most kids that like have bad experiences with teachers most of the time.
Yeah.
Because I think it may be most of the time. I'm not saying 100% of their teacher at the time that was just trying to do their damn job.
Yeah, that's why I say you always got to have your own experience when it comes to different things. Because you can't listen to other people's perspective on stuff. Well, you can't. You should. Let me say that.
You could listen.
Yeah, you should take in what other people have to say, but have your own experience.
Exactly.
Because their view on life is not going to be the same as your view on life.
It's good to have an alternative perspective on things too.
Yeah, like you don't want to just like be a sheep and listen and go based off what other people have to say and not really have your own experience and be able to put in your own 2 cents. Which is the same thing with like people, because you know, like whoever you might look up to like and view as a hero, another person could view the exact opposite.
See, I'm thinking about like all those people that like have influenced me positively and negatively throughout my life. Like sometimes you question whether or not they weren't any like, there was any proper negative influences or just me projecting that because I felt a little bit in my tune now. After even saying what I did, I was like, maybe I was a part of the problem the whole time too. It gives you food for thought to like never be stuck in yourself.
Yeah.
Always care about other people, I think, is the best message to like give people. Always think about someone else over yourself. I'm phrasing it weird.
No, I get what you mean.
It's like love yourself the most, but make sure that you can spread that when you can. None of you guys probably witnessed it, but we were going through some technical difficulties. I had to amend the situation right quick. But
yeah, Lewis is terrible at his job.
I'm awful at my job, actually.
And yet this is your career choice.
This is my career choice. Very, very unfortunate that I was trying to spread the message of love and all that nonsense.
It was the universe cutting you off because he was just like God saying he doesn't know what he's talking about, bro. Just stop.
He's like, don't let him continue talking about loving people. What type of crap is that?
He's just saving yourself.
Stop loving you.
He's just saying gibberish.
But other than that, do you have anything else that you want to bring up right quick? Or
Let's talk about Untainted.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Nobody that knows this.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about. But okay, so Untainted is this animated series that I came up with my freshman year of college, and I've been working on it. I've been working on it for the past 3 years now, and find so much, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Do we have an actual release date that's not Thanksgiving 2019?
I'm not going to promise anything.
Okay, good.
That's what I've learned. That's like the major thing I've learned throughout all of this is to not promise anything and to not give any dates.
No, trust me, I know I overestimate most of my skills most of the time. So
yeah, but man,
there's been a lot of working hands in this whole project too, right?
Yeah, people coming in, people coming out, which I expected, and I knew that I wanted to get into animation, and I knew I wanted to make my own animated series ever since I was 10 years old, like to the date, like January 27th, 2010 was the day I decided I wanted to make my own animated series.
Wow, you knew it to the T.
Yeah, because I, like, up until that point, I would just draw characters and come up with stories and things of that nature, but I didn't know what the title of the job or what I necessarily wanted to do. And it wasn't until the premiere of the show came.
Fanboy and Chum Chum.
I don't. Okay.
Fanboy and Chum Chum was your inspiration. No. Continue. I want to hear where this is going.
It was just because the show came out and it was I was 10 years old, and it was just like the nature of it and just like how the theme song was like so like energetic and like exciting, and I don't know why it was that show, but watching that show, the thought came into my mind that it's so dope that someone can just have this concept in their mind and then end up having to be this creation that's shared like millions of people around the world. And then I was like, I want to do that. So I grabbed the little binder and I wrote on it the date, like today's date.
That's how you remember. Okay.
Yeah, 1/27/2010. And there I wrote like the title of my show or whatever I wanted to be, and I started drawing characters and writing scripts and writing episodes, and I kept it ever since, and I've been adding to it and changing the story up like up to today. And it's not the show I'm working on it right now. It's not the show that's about to come out. It's not Untainted, but it wasn't an animation software because like I didn't have the money to pay for animation software growing up. Like it's expensive, the type of money I don't have. Yeah. But I downloaded it immediately, and I just finally had the opportunity to make my own show. And with the show that I started when I was 10 years old and have been working on up until right now in terms of just drawing characters and writing summaries of episodes I want to write, I know that I want to produce that show. Like my ultimate dream is to produce that show that I started when I was 10, but I feel like I need to work on other things and create other things to give myself practice, because I want when I jump onto that project, like my ultimate project, I want to be well experienced, well versed, know what I'm doing, have a budget behind me, and all things of that nature. So Untainted is more so practice for that.
So it's basically like the stepping stone for
Yeah.
getting to
Yeah.
maybe that eventual finality.
Yeah. Like after Untainted, if it continues, hopefully, I want to work on other projects. And when I feel good and ready to produce this show that I'm saving, I will move on to that. But basically, I had the software my freshman year of college, and I was like, and I literally have nothing to stop me. And I've always been of the mindset of where if you want to do something and you can do it, even if you don't have the accessibility or the type of budget or support system that other people might have to do it like bigger and better, you still have you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you really need at the end of the day. So I drew 3 quick characters. No, actually, the way I came up for the design of my characters was that freshman year, I really learned about like internships and how important they are for you. And freshman year, I didn't take any animation classes. Like, I still hadn't taken any classes. And then sophomore year came around, and I still hadn't taken any classes. So over the summer, I was looking up requirements for internships. And they had all these types of things where you need to have a demo reel, you need to have all these different types of like character designs and
Just
all this other stuff. Just a bunch of stuff that I did not have because I didn't take any of these classes. I didn't even take an animation class. I didn't even know how to animate. So I started like just over the summer just drawing a bunch of stuff. And then as I read more and more, the more discouraged I became, because I was just like, I don't have any of this. I don't have a demo reel. I don't know how to animate. I don't have anything to showcase.
But after your friend basically put you onto that software, you're like,
yeah, this was after.
Maybe.
Yeah, well.
This is already after all that. You're maybe like questioning.
Well, like, no, you're right. No, this was before I got. No, this was after I got the software, but before I started anything.
Okay.
So I had the software, but I didn't like use it yet. So, I drew this sketch of like these 2 boys, and this one other like creature, and a few months passed by after I was discouraged, and I got over it, because like I get upset, or like I'll get like a little like discouraged, but then I'll get over it like within the week, just because there's no point, you know, like just move on. And I remember going through one of my book bags and looking through like pieces of paper, and I found that design of the 2 characters, and I was like, this could be something. I like this. So I drew them out. And from that moment, I was just like, why not just start something? Like, why not create? And this was my sophomore year, and I still hadn't taken any animation classes, which was annoying, which was so frustrating.
Weren't you a major at that time? Or?
Yeah, I was an animation major. But there were prerequisites that you needed to take. There were so many prerequisites for some reason before I could take a animation class, which is dumb. So over the summer, I started animating. I started teaching myself how to animate. And it wasn't like the conventional way where you animate a bouncing ball, then you animate a walk cycle. I was like, no, I like made storyboards for episode 1 of Untainted, just because like I was so...
You were thinking 10 steps ahead.
Yeah, like, which is an issue I have, where I think about the end product and try to get to the end product and don't spend enough time appreciating
all the slower steps,
the journey, and like how important pre-production is. Mm-hmm. And looking at how I go through the process of animating and creating an animation now and then is completely different. I drew horrible storyboards, and if you don't know what storyboards are, they're basically like quick drawings of like keyframes of what you want in each scene, how you want the angles to look, and all that stuff. So I drew terrible, like just quick drawings of like just characters here. They're gonna write here. It's gonna look like this, and then I just moved on to animating, because I've been waiting to animate since I was 10, mm-hmm. and I finally can. So I started looking up videos on how to animate how to use the software that I was using. The software I was using is called OpenTunes. It's not really well known, but it was all I had. So I looked up how to use OpenTunes. I picked it up fairly quickly, and I just started animating from there. As every artist is, I was a perfectionist, and I didn't like the way it looked, so I had to redraw the characters, reanimate it over and over again until I found like a design I liked. And next up was I went about it. I went about it completely backwards.
So you started at the end before the beginning. I mean, this
Yeah.
is basically what you've been saying. So.
Yeah. So basically, when you're creating a series, you start off by writing the script.
Yeah.
Then you get the voice actors, and then they record.
Oh yes, I forgot.
Yeah.
You did all the audio first, right?
No, I did the animation first. I started the animation first.
Oh, you skipped that other way. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're supposed to have the voice acting first. But I was like, I can't wait. I have this. I'm free this summer. I want to start this, so I just started it, and I was like, I'll just add the voice acting afterwards. Which was, it wasn't too hard, but it would have definitely made my life easier if I had started beforehand. But yeah, so I started animating, and then when the school semester came back, I was looking for voice actors. So, and I was like asking people like, "Oh, do you know who would be interested in voice acting?" And one of our friends, Kyle, he put me onto this Facebook group within Fredonia, and he was like, just like message people who would be interested in possibly voice acting for your animated series. So I messaged a couple people, and a couple people reached out to me, and we tried meeting up. It was like super. I tried to keep it as professional as possible, which was cool because my mindset going into it was like, this is the field I want to go down. And I know in the field of animation, the field of like creating an animated series or show or movie, everyone is a specialist at something. Yeah. And I know I want my focus to be animation and like storyboarding. But I feel like the eventual dream is to be a showrunner, I need to be involved in every single aspect of animating, of creating a show. Yeah, like knowing how to edit, knowing how to voice act, knowing how to direct, knowing how to animate, knowing how to storyboard, knowing how to lead a team, knowing how to keep people on track, like everything involved in storyboarding, knowing how to voice act, knowing how to just tell a story, and knowing how to write. So I sat down with a bunch of people, and I finally had my voice actors. I finally had a voice. There are 5 characters in the pilot: the mom, the dad, the son, the 2 sons, and the daughter. So I needed 5 characters. I needed 5 people. I didn't think it'd be that hard. The amount of roadblocks that I went into just getting the voice actors.
Was it casting or like?
Oh man, yeah, the casting. Cause I had my 5 actors.
Yeah. And
I was like, okay, awesome, easy, job's done, move on. So I get my 5 actors, and I want us to meet up and to practice our lines. Like they say their lines, I direct them, I give them notes, they write them down. I printed out the sheets for them, and we go through it step by step. And then one of them messages me saying that they don't think they can do this with all their school work, and they don't think they're gonna have time for this, which is understandable. I get that, and I was expecting that, honestly. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that sucks. That sets me back a bit, but okay, that's fine. I just gotta find someone else. That's just life. Yeah, I expected that coming into it, so I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just look for someone else. I look for someone else, which takes a little bit of time. I ask some friends who they think would be interested. They recommend someone who is in a theater arts major. I get them, and they say, I listen to them record. They say yes. I was like, okay, I got everyone. Then someone else from the original cast tells me that they can't do it anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, okay.
So you got to get someone else to re-record for that person.
Yeah, and I have to do the same thing. And as I'm looking for that person, someone tells me that they're not going to be here next semester to record. And I'm like,
Fine.
Okay. All right.
What you should have done is just like get that pilot stuff just done, because I would doubt most of the time in like every pilot they never keep the same voice actors.
Yeah, they don't. But like that's see that was like the
Rarely, I think, but
that was difficult for me because I wanted it to be like as professional as possible. Like
to have
have
that
our voice
consistency.
actors have our like be able for us like to meet up like once a week, and because that's what I would do once I eventually had like my cast. Is like we would meet up. I would meet up with them like every Saturday from like 1 to 3, and they would practice their lines. I'd give them
Tips. And stuff.
I'd critique them on how to say like this or like to relax on this vowel and like really really listen to it, because it's a huge difference for when you're voice acting versus when you're listening to a person voice acting. Like you can pick up on like how they're saying things or like try to just yeah. It was a really trying experience, but I'm super grateful that I went through that because I learned a lot about every single step and how to direct. But yeah, I had to look for another voice actor. And at that point I was like, okay, let me rephrase how I'm looking for voice actors, or how I'm going to rephrase like the post. So I was like, okay, I'm looking for someone to voice act a character for my animated series. I need to know if you're going to have some free time to meet up once a week, like possibly on Saturday for like an hour or two. No, it's not paid, but it's just a passion project and it's just an episode, and I would really appreciate it if you would just be involved. Like, sorry, I can't pay you, and it's perfectly. I'm not begging. I'm not forcing anyone to. It's just like out of the kindness of your heart. If you wanted to be into if you wanted to voice an animated series, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't like say you would be available if you're not going to be available. Like if you're not going to have the time to do this, that's perfectly fine. But like just
let me know.
Yeah, let me know. And people reached out to me and they said they wanted to do it. And again, I reiterated what I said in like my post. It's like I need someone who's going to be available, and if you're not going to be available, but that's fine. But just like let me know now, so
I don't have to get.
I don't have to. Yeah, like literally midway through, and like the frustrating part was that it wasn't that like they told me and that they couldn't like voice it afterwards. It was that they told me, and then like weeks in, how like I'm already edited like their voices into a scene. I've already tried to fix up the audio. Like I'm already like fixing the audio in, and we haven't recorded all the audio, and then they tell me halfway through that they can't voice him. So now I have to go back and remove their audio and like find someone else and like take that audio and then ask someone if I could enter like the room and grab that audio and then put it in Audacity and edit it and re-enter it, and just so many steps back to move just to move one step forward. So I reiterated that, and like this person said that they would do it, and I was like, okay, awesome, I have everyone. And then a week later, they said they can't do it, and run them in on like the show and like the what's happening.
So you're constantly repeating the same process.
So I have like one character. I have like one girl. You remember Sarah? Yeah. She's been there since the beginning. She's awesome. She was available every week. She was dope. Not to say that other people who didn't volunteer and like give me their time. Like I appreciate all of you who were involved and just like took the time out of your day just to say, oh, I want to be part of this. Like I appreciate that greatly. Like greatly. Even then, even afterwards, if you weren't like yeah,
it's just like a little reset button that you're basically constantly doing.
Yeah, but like a few weeks go by and I finally have my cast, and then we're finally ready to start recording, and then the one character the one dude who was supposed to voice the dad starts like ghosting my text. I'm like, yo, are you gonna be free to record? And like I wouldn't get any type of responses, and eventually I was just like, you know what, enough of this. I'm just gonna voice the dad and the other character. I voiced two characters. I voiced the dad and one of the boys in the pilot. I was like, enough of this. I just need to get all my lines done and out of it. I'm done with this. I just need to move on to the next step.
Yeah. So
finally get there, and I finally got all the voice acting, and I've been animating ever since. And it was such like a breath of fresh air to finally larger breath of fresh air to finally be able to figure out how to get how to export all those animations out on a program that isn't too well known.
Oh, from OpenTunes into.
Yeah, on OpenTunes, because like nobody uses OpenTunes. People use like Toon Boom. People use After Effects. People use Adobe Animate. All those. So learning how to do that in itself was like a pat on my back, and being able to get a crew of people who would be interested. Oh man, okay, this is just bringing back a lot of memories, bro. Like there are so many like step backs that I had to take just to take another step forward. Like, and again, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus for like people who are listening to it who like may have played a role in it. Like I appreciate you just saying that you were involved. Like honestly, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. It's just that, and like understanding, like from the very beginning, I was like, I understand I'm asking a bunch of college kids who have their own lives and have their own things to do. Like I fully respect that. But even getting people to help color or help like help like with certain scenes was pretty difficult in of itself.
And incorporating sound and stuff like that.
Yeah, and people would be able to do it, and people would say that they would be able to do it, and then when I'd email them or like message them, and so are you gonna be able to color this scene? At first they would say yeah, and then time would go by when I would text them, and they wouldn't text me back, and then like after a while, you could just pick up like on the fact that they don't feel like they can be involved with it, which was the frustrating thing. Like I would pick up on it, and I would just be like. Like at some point I would just be like, yo, just text me. Just like let me know that you can't.
Like I won't be offended.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be offended. Like if anything, you're just like like you're wasting my time finding someone else or just doing it myself. Just be upfront with me. I'm not gonna be upset. I'm not gonna. The only reason why I end up getting upset is because you waited so long to tell me, or I had to force it out of you to tell me that you couldn't be a part of the project. Yeah. Like, just let me know. Like, I'm not going to take offense to it at all. Just, like, let me know as soon as possible from the get-go that you're not going to be able to do it. And some people did do it, and I appreciate it. And some people, like, just, like let it hang on for way too long. But after 3 years, I'm finally at the position where the animation is done. People, like, the coloring is, like, 95% done. I'm just adding shading, and Lewis is gonna help me put in the audio.
Oh, that me.
Yeah. He's helping me gonna put in the audio and the sound effects, and then I'm gonna put everyone's name who was a part of it, and I'm just gonna drop it, and it's gonna be the biggest cathartic feeling like ever, finally being on like a 3-year project.
And then episode 2 comes out.
Jesus Christ. I mean, hopefully. I mean, the dream is to make my own animated series, and I do have a story for this, and I think it's a really, really cool story to tell. Like Untainted, like the dream is to have 12 episodes for this idea. I have like the concept. I know what I want to happen. I have up until episode 5 written out until like it does continue. It's basically a show about a family of 5 and how they deal with struggle from the perspective of parents and also from the perspective of the kids, and both of them viewing it from different life points, and just understanding that kids pick up on things even though you think they're not listening, or you think they're not seeing like they are, and they understand a lot more than what you're willing to explain to them. And I think it's a really cool story that I could tell in like an animated form. So I hope that when it does come out, a lot of people watch it, a lot of people support it, and a lot of people want to see more.
They'll understand like the process and like enjoy the final byproduct of all of that.
Yeah, and like for the people, like, okay, so I've been working on this for like 3 years, and when it's done and put all together, I think it's gonna be like maybe like 4 or 5 minutes. And for like the immediate reactions for the people who don't know about animation, bro, please let me tell you, animation, especially when you're by yourself, takes an insane amount of time. An insane amount of like effort, depending on how good you want it to be. It takes so much effort just to get it done, and add dialogue and add music and add so many other things to it. Like there are Disney movies where they have a huge team of like 200 people working on a single film, and that's why the credits of every Disney movie are so long, and it takes them like 2 years, 3 years, however long to just get that one animated movie that's like an hour and a half long. And that's with like 200 plus people. So you can't. So I don't know how long you expect me, or how much you expect me to get done by myself.
College kid that also has to do all his college work.
Yeah, as an animation student, I also have to work on other animated projects that take my time, and they have to take priority over this passion project. But
I'm actually excited, man. Like when I do get to have the middle work effort, I guess.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see it all put together too. But also, as an animator and an artist, we're all perfectionists, and I gotta understand. It's hard to not be hard on yourself, but I gotta understand, like, as an animate. Like, I started this before I knew how to animate. Like, while I was making this, like, I was teaching myself to animate. There was no like I went to, and I didn't even take my first animation class.
Oh yeah, but when you first started,
yeah, like when I started Untainted, when I started working on Untainted, I did not know how to animate. I never took a class. I taught myself, which ended up helping me because when I did move on to taking animation classes, I got like straight A's. I did well in every single project just because I was teaching myself over the summer.
You're already like a few steps ahead of them.
Yeah,
because of what you were already doing.
Yeah, you gotta look. Yeah, you gotta look at like the positive in every scenario that you're in. Because working on this passion project and wanting to create this thing just like helped me get further in my career and what I wanted to pursue.
Damn, man.
But after all of that, it's finally almost done. Finally almost done. And I'm very excited to see it come out. And I hope you guys all watch it and support it. And hopefully afterwards I can get like a Kickstarter for if you like the series, if you like the pilot and want to continue it, just support however you can. If you don't want to donate $1, that's fine. Just share it with someone else. At least like help it get like enough
traction.
Yeah, enough traction. Like at least I just hope people either really hate it or love it. I hope people aren't indifferent.
They can't be like in between. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah, that's just, this is super indifferent, which doesn't help. But I really hope to whoever's listening, you guys go on, watch it, support it. Excited for when it drops. If you want to follow it or support it, you can go on Instagram and type in Untainted_the_series.
You want me to just add it as like a link in the description too?
Yeah, we can add in a link in the description.
Yeah, all right. I'll do that too.
But that's my piece. Untainted.
Well, with that side note, that really enjoyable. I'm really excited for how it's actually going to progress because even though I'm just editing the audio, I just haven't been able to see how certain scenes are going to play out.
Yeah. And
I am just participating as someone that could layer in sequences that make more logical sense with what's happening in the surrounding scenes.
It's definitely cool because it's kind of like a layered puzzle piece because you're putting different pieces together and each step it just becomes like more lively. Like from seeing it storyboarded to seeing it animated is a huge step when it coming to life. From seeing it animated to seeing it in color is another huge step, and now seeing it in color and to seeing it shaded is another huge step. So now once we put it all together and add sound effects and add everything else, it's gonna be super enjoyable to see. No matter how far it goes, I'm gonna be like really, really proud that it's come this far and I can say that I've made a pilot. Yeah, and with that, this has been episode 2 of the OnLooker podcast with me, Evans, and my co-host Luis Rios. I really am just excited to see where this podcast goes, what else we can do with it. Yeah.
I'm trying to make it a weekly thing, hoping.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because believe it or not, I'm gonna have an off-put schedule with how it's starting off for now, but as it's gonna be. I'm planning each episode to come out 12 at Fridays.
12 on Fridays.
What was the last calling thing I did?
Oh, wait. No. Hold up. Okay, so for our ending segment, we were thinking about different things to do, and what I suggested was that for me personally, like music is a big part of my way to like relax my mind, and also a way for me to focus my mind, and it gives me them endorphins. Endorphins?
Endorphins.
Is that the word? Endorphins?
I think it's endorphins.
No, dopamine.
Wait.
It raises my dopamine levels.
Are they both synonymous, kind of, or no?
No, dopamine levels are like it's like the chemicals you get when you do something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, music raises like my endorphin. Wow, the wrong word.
Raises your dopamine.
Raises my dopamine levels.
Yeah.
So I was saying it would be cool for a weekly podcast if we were just to name songs of the week that we really enjoy or that we've been listening
name
to.
Something that we're just interested in.
Yeah. For me, I'd say it would have to be. Oh man, what's the name of the song? I gotta look it up.
Oh, you don't even have yourself prepared,
bro.
Is this something you were talking about last week too?
No, the thing is, I listen to a lot of music. I listen to a lot of different types of music, and I can never remember
the exact name of things.
Yeah, because there's just too much. Okay, it's called Jusfayu by KAMAUU featuring No Wild. That's KAMAUU, KAMAUU, and Jusfayu, JUSFAYU. It's a dope song. It's like a energetic song. Like wake up in the morning if you need something to help you get out of bed and like keep you energized, get you excited for the day. It's that type of music.
And for me, nothing, because I'm not really that passionate about music per se in that area.
He listens to the static between stations.
Yeah, normally I'm turning into the white noise. I'm hoping to hear that.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what gets me going in the day.
Yeah, he's weird.
All right. Everyone have a good night, good evening, and good morning, whatever it is. Bye.